twice, my shooter in the VIP. 10th grade, bought a frame, peel off the licks. Pack set, feel like I'm cruising on the ship. It's your birthday, put some ice on your wrist. I reached every goal, had to write another list. I'm struggling on toe, I just biting on the lip. I fly across the globe and I call another hit. They watching cause they know how slimy he can get. I'm running to the top, I'm bottom of the ditch. You think rap burn, and he running out of hits. Say the wrong word, I'm shoot him in. This a big dog, you a poodle, I'm a pit. My choice is dog just as far as I can spit.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of KLA Sports. I'm your host, Kyle Alexander, and today was my very first guest on the show, or one of my first guests. Today with me, I have Arrick Wilson. Arrick, I'm gonna let you plug your stuff real quick. Introduce yourself.
What is going on, guys? My name is Arrick Wilson. I am the head writer, and I do a lot. Of course, I talk with Eric. I cover my local high school basketball and football. I also cover NBA and college. Everything is just courtside. I talk with Eric, Arrick, and I'm really glad I've had Kevin on a lot of my podcasts, and I've really enjoyed them, and just happy to have him, and then happy to be on here too. I'm sorry.
All right, so thank you. You heard it, guys. Check his stuff out. Link will be in the description, or stuff will be in the bio. So today, we're just gonna talk about, All-Star Weekend just happened, trade deadlines approaching. So we figured why not stop in the middle of the season, do our quick NBA midseason awards here. So we have all 6 awards here. We just chose guys who we thought was the best fit for each award. So, we can start with MVP first. Eric, who is your current MVP leader right here? And I think I know from your YouTube channel, but
Now, this guy, he was and he still is, hopefully when he comes back from his injury, having a great season. I've been on the Joel and B hype train pretty big. And that's big of me saying, because in the beginning of the season I was all LeBron this, LeBron that.
yeah.
He's only 30, he's only 36. But now I gotta give my man Joel Embiid the props. He's averaging 30 points and 12 rebounds. And he was one that he's carrying the post defense for the 76ers.
Yeah.
Sadly, he went down on Friday with a hyperextended knee, I think.
Yeah, I
So
saw that.
he might be out for. I'm not even sure. I'm not the medical type of guy, but he might be out for a couple. But I think his what he's done this year is more than enough to put him at top of the MVP race.
Right. And no, I'm gonna have to agree with Eric on that one. I have Joel Embiid, like you said, 30 points, like 29, 30 points a game, 11 rebounds. And he's actually close to being part of the 50-40-90 club for a center. He's shooting 52% from the field, 42% from three, and 85% from free throw. If he can get that up a little bit, maybe he could join that 50-40-90 club, which would be crazy for a big man to do. He's also led the 76ers to a 27-12 record, which is actually the first seed in the East. And like I said, they got a new coach this year. And after losing out in the first round to the Celtics last year, Embiid just turned into a completely different person. Like he's just been, I saw him, he's doing step back threes now for a 7-footer, which is crazy. Like the only, like Eric said, he did have an injury. That's my only thing with him is just, hope he can stay consistently healthy throughout his career, especially this season. But I think he's definitely the front runner for the MVP. I'm gonna just do a little plug here. My literal MVP. When I look at MVP, I just think of like who's actually most valuable to their team. And I think Jimmy Butler has a great argument there. You saw what happened with the Heat last year. Took them all the way to the finals as a 5th seed. And even before, you look at the teams that he's left, like Chicago, Minnesota, and the Sixers. They all got worse the year he left. Like Minnesota hasn't been the same. Chicago hasn't been the same, and Philadelphia, they're getting back on track. But they I think Jimmy took them to the semifinals, and then last year, they were first round exits. And you saw when he was out with COVID, the team they were a 13th seed, and now he came back. They were on a nice little winning streak, and they're actually up to like a 5th or 4th seed, which is just crazy. So I think that's my literal MVP, but I think Joel Embiid is definitely going to win MVP this year.
Yeah, I agree. We got to get this man Jimmy buckets his due.
Yeah,
He's really one of the best players in the league. He's also one of the best guys. If you want to have a chemistry on the team, that Heat team has a lot of chemistry,
yeah,
and there's just a lot of dogs just working together to become a better team. And I think if he does lead this Heat team to a higher spot in the playoffs, I think they're around there. The East isn't the best conference. Over
yeah.
500 can give you a playoff spot, but I mean, if they get a little bit higher in the playoffs, I think there becomes a case for him to become the MVP of our league.
Most definitely. So that's it for the MVP. We're gonna go right to the next award, which is Rookie of the Year. And my Rookie of the Year, I think we all know who it is. The consensus is LaMelo Ball. He's averaging 15.6 rebounds, 6 assists on 40% from the field, 38% from three, and 80% from the free throw. He's led the Charlotte Hornets to a 19-18 record, and they're currently the sixth seed in the East. And when you look at LaMelo, there were some big question marks about him, but he's turned out to be, what most people thought he was when he was first getting his name out there, like the best out of the ball trio. He's leading Charlotte to a playoff spot. And not only that, you have people actually tuning in watching Charlotte games. Before him, nobody was doing that. And that's the thing about Charlotte. They've been a fun team to watch this year. His chemistry with Miles Bridges, I feel like there's always a alley oop to him in every game. LaMelo, he's been doing this thing, especially since he became a starter, and that's why I think he's the Rookie of the Year.
I'm agree with you. LaMelo's been my guy since I was young, watching him
Yeah,
and his brothers at Chino Hills.
yeah. Back at Chino
I was
Hills.
yeah, I was one of the guys coming into the draft, and I was saying, people really doubting him because his last two brothers aren't panning out to what they were expected to do.
Right.
Leangelo, I don't even think he even got to get into the league due to
Nah.
what he did in China. And Lonzo, he's playing pretty decent. He's having a pretty breakout year in my opinion. But LaMelo, LaMelo is a
Yeah.
different
He.
breed. He's definitely going to be the guy for the Charlotte Hornets for the next couple of years. They need to keep him. I could say maybe you could trade one of those guards that you have for a big down low, but like you said,
Yeah.
him and Miles Bridges, that alley hoop connection, you're at least
Yeah.
gonna see at least two or three of those in each game. He's exceeding, like the Hornets said, he's exceeding their expectations that they have for him. He's probably one of the best rookies that we've seen in a while, and it's just great to see after people were basically planning on this man's downfall. He's
Right.
definitely, there's nobody, in my opinion, that's even catching him right now. You could say Anthony Edwards, who had 34 or 35 points last night, but he
Yeah.
hasn't been consistent. LaMelo, he's been consistent. So that's why I'm going to have my man as the rookie of the year.
Right. I agree with you. The only person I could see that's like catching up to him maybe is Tyrese Halliburton, just because he's been balling, especially as a six man. He slipped all the way down to the Kings, and he's just been a big time bucket for them. Also, I
I
was kind of
was
hoping Chicago kind of got LaMelo Ball, but that ain't happened. So
I was one of the big believers in Tyrese Halliburton. You could check my you
yeah,
can check you can check my Twitters, you can check the blog. I thought he was one of the most slept on guards. He's just like, again, one of those LaMelo prototypes, one of those big guards who can pass, they can handle the ball. He has a funky looking jump shot, but it goes in. He's
exactly.
he's a great player. Probably, yeah, like him, and maybe you can add James Wiseman in there. He's kind of have a
Maybe.
office year,
Yeah.
but nobody's touching LaMelo right now. Nobody.
Right, definitely. Also, just some breaking news for any football fans watching. The Kansas City Chiefs have signed Patriots offensive guard Joe Thuney to a 5-year, $80 million deal. I don't know how they do it when they have monopoly money for cap space, but yeah, because this is
Um,
NFL. This is the first day NFL free agency, so it's just a lot of stuff going on.
They can't
Uh,
they can't have this man Patrick Mahomes backpedaling almost another another 200 yards a game. They can't have that. They can't have that no
yeah,
more.
that was bad. Oof. All right, so next award is the Defensive Player of the Year. Eric, who do you have as your Defensive Player of the Year?
I got a guy who gets too much hate that he doesn't deserve. My man in Utah, Rudy Gobert. He's averaging 14 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. His defensive stats just show for itself that he's one of the best defenders in the league. Another guy that you could put in for this case is Ben Simmons. He's arguably one of the best on-ball defenders that we have in the league. And he's making his own case. He came out a couple of weeks ago in the media and said he is the best, defensive player in the NBA. But I got my man Rudy Gobert. Just his impact in the post is just viable for the Utah Jazz.
Right. So I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I have Ben Simmons as my defensive player of the year. Now Gobert, I mean, I see your point that he is a great defender, and like you say, he gets a lot of hate. My thing with him was just I felt he was overpaid because he can be a liability on offense, or he's not like a Joel Embiid where he's consistently great on both sides. But like I say, there's a guy in Philadelphia by the name of Benjamin Simmons, and he's averaging 16 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, zero point 0.7 blocks, and 1.6 steals a game. And he actually leads the league in deflections per game with 3.9, and loose balls recovered by 1.5. Simmons, like you say, great on ball defender. He can guard the 1 through 5 if he has to. If he has to, he can get down the post. He's a great on ball defender. Can guard the perimeter and go up against the guys like the Jason Tatum's, Kevin Durant's in the East, and maybe even hold his own against LeBron and the Kawhis in the West. He's just been a really good defender this year. He's taken that next step, and that's why I think he's the defensive player of the year. Either him or Gobert can continue his reign that he's had for like the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, we're seeing an influx of those big point guards who are able to basically, in my words, shut down the smaller guards when they're guarding.
Yeah,
Ben Simmons, he's probably one of the best point guards in the league. He's a point forward. He can pass.
definitely.
He can't shoot. He can't shoot. I was about to say he can shoot. He can't shoot. But I mean, I don't think that should be such a, high take. I don't think him not being able to shoot should be such a big deal. But he can facilitate. He can pass. He can play make. So that's also a good choice for the defensive player of the year.
Yeah. Especially with you saying like the whole shooting situation, because people forget he was coming onto the Sixers as a power forward. He only switched to point guard because Markelle Fultz was injured, and Simmons was like, "Hey, I can play point forward if you need me to." So I mean, him not shooting, you don't have to shoot because people forget he is a big that transition to point guard. But I mean, if he can get like this is what I say with him and Giannis, if they can get like a little mid range shot, they should be good.
That's what I am saying. I agree with you wholeheartedly. The term mid range is dead should not be even in anyone's mind at this NBA.
Right.
Everybody's guarding the 3 point. If you just get a solid mid range game, you're killing the game. That's all he needs. Maybe a nice, take from LeBron and Kobe's book, a nice, pull up high post, fade
Yeah.
away. You just need a mid range game. And nobody's gonna be if he does put his game up to the mid range game, probably nobody would be able to guard him that much.
Right. Especially if he can get that LeBron move where he just stares at the ball and just does a side step. But
LeBron is one of those guys that because he started his career as not one of the guys that could really shoot like that. So I
yeah,
think we should give this man Ben Simmons a little bit more time to
definitely.
gather a shot.
Definitely. I agree with you there. So next award we have up is the most improved award, and my most improved player it's got to be Christian Wood from the Houston Rockets. I know he's missed some time recently, but he's averaging 22 points, which is plus 8.9 points more than his previous year. Averaging 10.2 rebounds, which is 3 to 4 more. 1.3 assists, 1.5 block, and not 0.9 to 1 steal. He's shooting 55% from the field, 42% from three, and he's taking 4.5 threes a game. So it's not like he's averaging 45 and he's just shooting like 2 or 3, or he's just shooting like 1 or 2. He's shooting 4 to 5 threes for a power forward center. So that's definitely impressive. And he's shooting 68% from free throw. He's just really taking that next step, especially on the Houston Rockets team. That it was some question marks, because they still had James Harden at the beginning of the year. So it's like, are they trying to have Harden, build a team around Harden to take them to the playoffs, or are they just going to trade Harden and take that step back for a year, like to regather themselves? And they traded Harden, Wood, and now Christian Wood has just been able to do his thing and blossom into the star that he believed he could become.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Christian Wood last year with Detroit when he was averaging 13 and 6. Now he's blossomed into a star. Um, I think, was 31 minutes per game, but when he was with Detroit, he was had like 21 minutes per game. So we can see that Detroit is just giving out great players like bags of chips.
Yeah,
They gave up Blake Griffin. So there has to be something wrong with the Detroit Pistons organization.
definitely.
Sorry for getting away from my point, but he is, like you said, averaging 22 and 10. Really blossoming into the player that he could possibly become. Small ball. He's probably going to be playing the center for the Rockets. Because they like to, have their small ball, which I don't think really will
Yeah,
end up working in the NBA, especially if you're in the East against those big teams like
definitely.
the big teams, that aren't playing small ball. So, but yeah, Christian Wood, he definitely is probably one of the clearest cases for most improved player of the year.
Yeah, and the only two other finalists I could see is Jeremy Grant from the Detroit Pistons and Julius Randle from the New York Knicks. Both of those two have been balling. They've been doing their thing. Randle is part of the reason the Knicks are actually relevant again. They're one of the better teams in the East. And Jeremy Grant, Pistons aren't doing much, but he's just there. He took a bet on himself, realized, hey, I can become a superstar, and he's took that chance on himself.
Yeah, I forgot about my man Julius Randle.
Yeah,
I've been a big fan of Julius Randle's games this year also. He's showing that big man, he's really taking on that Nikola Jokic type of prototype of player of a big man that can pass and facilitate also. He had a
right.
couple of triple doubles this year.
Yeah.
He's just proven to be the player that we thought he was going to be with the Lakers. And it's great to see his progression as he's become into a better player than he was.
Right. And I think he just had a double the other night, and RJ Barrett had like 31 points. If
Yeah,
I'm not mistaken.
the Knicks are almost there. They almost
Yeah,
there
they're
for their champion.
almost there.
They just need to get to the playoffs. I think it's been too long of a job for not being one of the biggest, cities in America, and you don't have a playoffs.
Yeah. All right. So that was our most improved candidate. Next up we have the six man of the year. So Eric, you wanna tell us who you think is the six man of the year so far and why?
Now Utah has a lot of weapons. They got a lot of guys who could just go out there and give you buckets. But one of the guys who's a key player who's really stepped it up for his team is my main man that used to play for the Lakers, Jordan Clarkson. He's averaging around 18 points and 4 assists, really coming off the bench and being a key player. Just another case of a guy like Julius Randle, who is supposed to be the guy with the Lakers, and now he's making a bigger impact off the bench. It's
Yeah.
great to see him become a great player, and how he's playing as of right now.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna have to agree with you there. I have Jordan Clarkson from the Jazz. Like you said, 18 points a game, 44% from the field, 37% from three, and he's shooting 96.7% from the free throw line. That's that's insane, and he's just made that big impact for the Jazz. I feel like that's kind of been a problem for them was the bench unit because before it was like, all right, we have Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, but who's gonna take that step? Who's gonna take that next step when both of them are out? And he's had a couple 30-point games, but he's just been able to he's kind of just been able to he's realized like, all right, I know I had a lot of promise. He had a lot of promise as like a potential star guard or something, but he took that deal or he got traded to the Jazz and said, I'm gonna just take that backseat role, kind of be that bench player because you're not starting over Donovan Mitchell, obviously, but he realized, he said, let me just do my thing off the bench. And he's just really been one of arguably the best bench player in the league. I think he's been the best bench player in the league this year. And that's why he's my sixth man of the year.
Yeah, he's a key factor for that Utah Jazz to keep
Yes.
him and a couple other guys really healthy. Because, like I've said in one of my articles, the Jazz are legit. The
Yeah.
Jazz are very legit. They're not how people were saying. I think it was the 2016 Hawks. They're not the
Yeah.
Hawks. They're the Jazz, and they're
Yeah.
gonna make some. They're gonna make some noise in the Western Conference playoffs.
Definitely. And like you said, they're the best team in the league right now. And my only question mark for the Jazz is just they need can they get a wing defender that can go up against the guys like the LeBrons, the Kawhis, Kevin Durant, and so on.
Yeah, I
That's,
agree
I think
because
that's
you can't have he's great, but you can't have a Bogdanovich and a Joe Ingles guarding a 250-pound LeBron James
uh,
and a long wingspan and Kawhi Leonard. So that's something they could probably try to retool over the summer.
right. Also, some more breaking NFL news. I told you lots going to be happening. So, the Cleveland Browns are closing in on a 3-year deal with Rams safety John Johnson III. So, yeah, he was one of the top safeties on the market. It's taken by the Browns as a Ravens fan. Kind of hate it, but you
I'm
know,
just happy my boy Dak is secured. Just
yes.
happy we just know we going to the Super Bowl.
I forgot you're a
Um,
Cowboys fan.
just get just
I'm a
give
Ravens and an Eagles fan.
Just
So
give us 5 years. We're gonna get one by the 5 year mark.
you need to fix that defense.
Yeah, yeah. Defense is very rough. Defense is very rough. Very rough.
All right, but I'm actually glad that got paid too. So all right, and the last and final award is the Coach of the Year. I know who it is. You know who it is. We all know who it is. So I'm gonna just say it. I got Quinn Snyder from the Utah Jazz. Have a league best 28-10 record, and they were the last team to have single digit losses. They've only had 8 losses for like what, like most of the year up until like the last month or two. They're the first seed in the West, best record in the NBA. They had, 3 All-Stars selected. Conley was a replacement, and I feel like that part of that had to be coaching because you have Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, being, they're doing their thing. But you have Mike Conley. First year, he was kind of disappointing, but this year he stepped up. And there were people when he first wasn't, he was an all-star replacement for Devin Booker. So when he first didn't make, everybody was calling for him saying like, "Oh, he needs to be in the all-star. He needs to be an all-star. He should be in the game." There were actually some. It was even some people saying that he might have been better than Donovan Mitchell, or he deserved over Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, I know it's crazy, but he was able. Quinn Snyder was able to take Conley up to that next step. They have they have a 77-37 win percentage, and they're 16-2 at home, 2-8 away, and they're 13-7 with teams over 500, and they're 15-3 with teams below 500. So for the teams below 500, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be dominating, and if for the teams over 500, like the top tier teams, they're holding their own. So that's why I think he's the coach of the year.
Yeah, I agree with you. They've really been the overall great team this year. But you know I got Quinsider as my coach of the year, but you could also put, the 76ers coach Doc Rivers, because he's really helped.
Yes.
I think him being there with Joel Embiid has really impacted his game um, good. And also with Ben Simmons. So they also have the second best record in the NBA. So I think you could also put in my man Doc Rivers after he got a lot of hate for
Yeah.
losing that playoff series versus the Nuggets. But I, you can. I still think Quinn Snyder got it in the bag, but you can't forget about my man Doc Rivers.
Yeah, I don't know how I forgot about him. I feel like the big question mark is the playoffs, but like you said, because before he got there, nobody looked at Joel Embiid as like an MVP candidate. Ben Simmons was looked at the same, but he's still at that. He took his game up to another level. Embiid's out here. He's looking like another player. Like he looked like he just unlocked some cheat codes in the game or something. Like he's hitting threes. He's doing step backs. He's punishing people at the rim. And then you got Ben Simmons playing great defense. And especially with some of the other additions that they had, like getting Seth Curry and Danny Green, that opens up their spacing even more. And, I feel like that's definitely been, he could definitely be a candidate for coach of the year. Even though it's a regular season award, people are still going to look at the playoffs as a question mark. So,
Yeah, definitely. He was one of those key factors in putting those great guys around Joel Embiid. And like you said, Joel Embiid looked like he's been working on his badges and his rating in
yeah,
2K. This man is probably at least a 98. On his my career. He
yeah,
didn't like how last year ended. and it's great to see. And I hope that he comes back the same from this injury that he suffered on Friday. But if he does, he's a clear winner in my eyes. And the other
Definitely.
guys I didn't mention for the MVP, I'm sorry if I want to break it up, but you also got that my main man, my favorite player of all time. He's only 36, LeBron James, and you also got that man in South oh no, that man in Oakland. Sorry, Stephen Curry. Still doing him, and you also got this man Dame Dollar. So there's a lot
Yeah,
of it. All depends on how the second half of the season determines to play out. As we've already seen, he's gotten an injury, so just needs to stay healthy. Just needs to stay healthy.
definitely. I agree. And another feel like dark horse MVP candidate, Chris Paul. We saw what he did with the OKC team last year. My brother's a Thunder fan. I did not have them making the playoffs. They had a 0.2% chance of making it, and they were the fifth seed and almost made it to the second round. Now he gets traded to the Suns. The Suns literally went from the 10th seed to a playoff game to almost being a playoff playing game. So now they were like the fourth seed. I think they're the second seed right now, if I'm not mistaken. I can check, but just his impact on teams is just criminally underrated, and he's always taking teams to that next level. So I have the stands right here, and
Yeah.
yeah, they're the second seed right now behind the Jazz, and they're only 2 games behind.
To be completely honest, I'm a Thunder fan myself. I've been a Thunder fan for a while. I kind of became a wherever he at fan for a little bit, but then I went back to my original team in the Thunder. But as a fan myself, I didn't expect us to even grasp a chance to get into the playoffs, and it really just tests his amount of what he's able to do for a team. And we've seen that time and time again, as we saw last year and as we're seeing this year. He's just that veteran presence that every team really needs. And it's great to see him really prospering. But I don't think he'll get that league, but I don't think he'll get that ring by the time he leaves the
Yeah,
NBA. It's sad to say, but I,
yeah,
I don't think so.
yeah. If he would, if the NBA would have let him team up with Kobe, he could have had a ring.
And man, it's that man David Stern, man. Rest in peace,
Yeah,
but man, David
rest in
Stern,
peace.
you ruined it for me, man. I could have seen LeBron James and Kobe Bryant finals, but no, that did not happen because he vetoed the trade.
All right. Yeah, that's definitely one finals we could have had for the ages, consistently too. But yeah, so that's gonna be it for this episode. Eric, thank you for coming on to the show. If you want to plug your stuff one more time.
Like I said, is at the court with Eric, Arrick. I really just enjoy talking to Kyle a lot. He has a great he's great conversations we have with each other. I
Yeah,
also had him on my podcast a couple of times. I think it was like 3 or 2 times.
yeah,
Yeah, just check out my stuff. I got some stuff cooking up. I just be covering high school and my high school stuff and NBA and college. I also got the NCAA tournament coming up, so just be on the lookout for the stuff I drop. I really appreciate Kyle invite me to be on this podcast.
no problem. Like you said, like I said, the stuff is going to be in the bio. Check his stuff out. It's really great stuff. So that's going to be it for this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, having the YouTube channel for for my other podcast, the Black America podcast that I do with my friends, where we talk about more political stuff. So you can check that out. But yeah, that's going to do it. Eric, thank you one more time for coming on to the show. It was a pleasure having you. And that's going to do it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Talk to you guys next time.